Hey, welcome to the Because I Can live podcast. This is Allison, and today's podcast episode is with Rebecca Miller of Munchkin Lane. Now, as we dive into this, oh boy, get ready for this. Have you ever found in your business that you are spread so thin that you're just like trying to keep your head above the water and not drowned? Well, I wanted to bring Rebecca in to help discuss this exact feeling of feeling overwhelmed with everything. Rebecca has 5 kids. Her husband is in school, and not just in school like in the same state. No, he's in a totally different country going to school. And she is taking her business to whole new levels by saying no, by stripping away the things in her business that she doesn't need and focusing in on the one thing. And that also includes shortening her times that she is selling, which, yeah, we're in a day of the internet, 24 hours, 7 days a week. But she said on this one specific product, you know what? I'm only going to do it 2 days out of the month so that she could catch up. And by doing that, that led to huge growth in her business. And we're talking just under 2,000 monthly customers paying her for her product month after month after month. I know, it's pretty exciting. You're going to find out how she had these products that she was selling and how she was able to say, you know what, I'm not going to sell those products and I'm going to narrow in on the one product. Like, what was the brain process behind that? How did she do that? Yeah, it was making some money. And how was she able to turn that down so that she could focus on the one thing? And then at the end, you're going to find the app that she is using in her store to help keep all of her orders and her customers organized and keep that constant billing happening just in the background so she's not manually doing it all. Now, I think you're going to love Rebecca just as much as I do. And yeah, you might hear us fangirl a little bit about one of our favorite books of all time. It has to do with business. I know we get to geek out about business here on the podcast. It changed both of our lives forever and ever. And I'm excited for you to hear this podcast, hear the book so that you can do this. And just a little heads up, as we're recording this podcast, we had about 64 people hop in and watch this podcast live. And then at the end, we answered some of their questions. I thought, why not invite a few extra on to see what questions they had that I may have missed or things that they were excited about. So if you hear me referring back and forth in the chat, you'll know what is going on. Anyway, get ready for today's podcast episode, take notes, and find out how Rebecca went from all the things to one thing and growing her subscriber list, her customer list that's paying month after month to just under 2,000 every single month. All right, let's dive in. So I am so excited today to talk to Rebecca. Rebecca, when did you join the 0 to 100K?
July 2019.
Okay. And then I don't want to give all of the details out. I don't want to ruin the excitement of the story. So take us along your journey. You started in July of 2019. And tell us a little bit about your backstory, why you got started, and then we'll lead into where you're at today.
Okay. I always get too many details, so just cut me off if I'm talking too much. But I just basically, it was like when I was a teacher forever ago and then had a kid. So I quit teaching and my husband got a job but he was still in school. So then it just turned out like, anyways, so when he was working, I just still I was missing that feeling of, what do you call it? When somebody tells you you're doing a good job or you do something good, I needed that. I feel like that's my personality. So then I just started selling, some stuff I would sew. I was hand sewing things on Etsy and then, And then I had a friend happen to tell me about Jane. So I sold those things I sewed on Jane, but it took me like a month to sew enough to sell it on Jane because it took so long to sew. And then I saw somebody put like an activity book on Jane. And I was like, oh, I didn't know you could sell those kinds of things. I don't know why I only thought it had to be like handmade sewed things. But so then I started there, and then it just took off. And then I just kept selling lots and lots of those busy books. And then I found your course, and then you said you need to get a website. So then I got a website, and then a Rollo printer, like everything you said. I just did one thing at a time as I like took your course. And then and so by the end of last year, we were doing, so 2019 comes, and I just been, selling more and more, which was great. And that's when I just started hiring people because it was becoming too much for me to handle. And then my husband, at the time, was a pharmacist. And so he just didn't feel like that's what he needed to do. And we both didn't feel like it. And so he applied to medical school and got into medical school. And it seems crazy now, but at the time it didn't seem so crazy. And I don't know, I guess I just had instead of the scarcity mindset, the like, oh, I can do this, I can make it work. And so I was like, well, my business is doing okay. Like, I think I can do this. And so it was like, since he had already been to pharmacy school, we couldn't live off these types of loans for medical school because we already had this humongous pharmacy school loan that he was on. And then, so he had to go to school. Well, he didn't have to, he chose to go in the Caribbean. And then, so we didn't have any savings, nothing. He just left, and I was just left to take care of my family. And I had to somehow make enough to pay for his tuition. And so I don't know. I just always had the mindset, like, we can do this, we can like get it going. And then, so it just kept going, like growing a little bit. And then I joined your next level class, and then you told me to get a new printer. And like, so I feel like that's some of the other leaders were asking, like, how did you get so big? And I feel like, or how did I get to where I am today? And it's literally just like doing the next thing that came my way. And so so I just got a new printer. And then when I got the new printer, you're like, oh, I think you should have a subscription. And then I was like trying to think of what product would be best of mine to make into a subscription. And then at that same time, there was somebody, like an influencer who I'd followed, and she was really sad that her daughter couldn't go to preschool because her son had a heart problem and with COVID and everything. So I was like, oh, I could make you a workbook that your daughter could do every month, and I could just make it real simple for you. So, because she was already really tied up with her son who had all these health problems. And so then I just created this workbook, and I honestly just thought it was just like another product my products sell okay, but it's not like things that go viral. And everyone just loved it, like more than I gave it credit for, I guess. And so then that was like the first time that other people just started sharing my products without like me paying an influencer to share it. Like, somebody would buy it and say, oh my goodness, this is amazing. And then they would share it with their friends and their friends and their friends. And it just kept going, like snowball effect. And then, you want me to just keep going? I was like, then it became like so much. Do you want me to go into that now?
Yes. Wait. Okay. So I want to back it up just a little bit. Okay. So we're going to get to your big, huge story about where you're at now. But in the very beginning, I love how you just Jimmy rigged stuff to put together to start creating, to sell, right? Can you tell us what were those products?
Okay. So like the very first thing I did, so I made the busy book, and it was like an 8.5 by 5 by 5. So I guess 8.5 by 5.5 book. And so when you coil it, there's just a 3-inch coil left.
Is like the binder on the side?
Yeah, the binding, a coil binding. And so there's just like a 3-inch coil binding left on the side. And I didn't want to throw it away because I'm not like a wasteful person. I don't know. I always think of like as something to do with the extra parts. And so I remember thinking like, okay, what can I do with this little extra part? And then I just came up with the idea like, oh, I'll make flashcards, but I didn't have time to do it at the moment. So I just took a piece of paper, wrote a letter C on it, and took another paper, wrote an A on it, not laminated or anything, and then had the binding in on the top, took a picture and said, laminated flashcards, came up with the whole price, but I never made it. Like, it's not the actual product. It was just one piece of paper. And then I woke up the day before those went live I was selling them on Jane that night. And before it went live, I remember thinking, like, why am I doing this? This is so dumb. Like, nobody's going to like this. This is the worst product ever. Like, why am I doing this? And I still hadn't made it to that point because I wasn't going to make it till it sold, because I was like, oh, somebody's probably only going to want one. And I don't see the point. Anyway, so then I wake up in the morning and I didn't even I was taking my kids to preschool and stuff. And so I wasn't thinking about checking it. And then I got a message on my phone saying, oh, all your flashcards are sold out. When are you going to get more in stock? And I'm like, what is she talking about? She can't be talking about what I think she is. And all 200 had sold out from midnight to 8 o'clock in the morning. And because I had only had 200 on there. And I was like, oh my goodness, I've never even made one. I don't even know how I'm going to make this type thing. And so, I mean, I almost let that fear get to me and not even sell it. And if you today, that is the only thing that's not personalized, that's our huge top seller. I probably sold 10,000 flashcards at this point by now. So it's insane.
So your dumb thought that you had in your head has gone on to become your number one seller.
Yeah. Yeah. So, number one, not personalized seller, but yeah, I know. I had so many of those thoughts too, because the Busy Books, that was our biggest seller up until this point. And I the very first time I sold it, I sold around 100, and I got a review back. And okay, when I had my Etsy shop, I never got less than 5 stars. And I even remember telling my dad, if I get less than 5 stars, I think I'll cry and shut my shop down, because I just am that type of person where I'm I always do my hardest. It's my best work. And then I get this 1-star review and they're saying how awful and horrible it is. And I was just what? And I remember crying and thinking it was just so sad. And then my husband explained to me, no, the top people in the world get bad reviews. It's just, some people I don't know. They just don't know what you're offering or, whatnot. But then if I would have stopped then I would have never got to where I am. And then I would have never made the workbooks. And the workbooks are what people specifically will email me telling me how grateful they are that I'm doing it and making time for them. And I'm like, man, if I would have just stopped, I would have never been to where I am today. So you got to ignore the hatred. Totally.
And I always think about Mr. Rogers. If he had haters, how can you hate Mr. Rogers? I don't understand that concept. And so, yeah, you're going to get haters no matter what you do. And now, when someone says I got my first hater, I'm like, congratulations. Congratulations. You're just one step closer to being successful. Okay. So you Jimmy rigged your product. You put it up on Jane. You didn't even think it was going to sell. You sold out. And you're like, oh my goodness, this is awesome. This is so fun. And then, okay. So what was the next thing that you did after that? You're learning how to ship. I'm sure you didn't even know really how to ship at that point. I mean, you've done it a little bit with Etsy. But 200 orders is a lot different than random sales on Etsy, right?
Yeah. And that actually was it turned out to be a bad thing, because it was 5 days before I was having my last baby. And so I didn't know how to make this product. And I had probably 10 ladies from my neighborhood at my house all night long trying to put these things together. And then nobody knew how to clip the binding except for me. So after I had my baby, they would bring me buckets of the flashcards and I would sit in the hospital clipping these bindings. And so it was funny. And then, you know how you have to ship things out within 2 days on Jane, or you get bad review. And so I didn't realize, I was oh, we could just print the label and then you can ship it off. And so we got, I shipped them all out 1 day late, but then we had, 200 orders all 1 day late. So then my rating went all the way down. And so then I was so glad, I found your course, not too, 3 months after that. And so I was so glad, because then I was okay, there's a Rollo printer. You don't actually have to print each label on a piece of paper and things just little things like that. Oh, and then I guess you're asking how I got there. So we got the roller printer, because then that was a huge saver. And then customer service, it's so hard to respond to all. I started getting more and more emails, and then you're get that off your plate right away. And plus it's hard if you have somebody saying they're not really if they didn't like your product, but you put all this heart and soul and effort into it, then it gets you down and you think, okay, I'm not going to keep doing this. This person doesn't like it. But if you give somebody else that job, then you're not hearing that all day. And then my customer service person just forwards me all the praising good emails. So then it's just like all you're hearing. Yeah, you're hearing all the good ones. So then of course you want to just keep going and doing your best job because you're just getting praised all the time rather than hearing some of the negative things that people say. And so once I hired that off, like looking back today, there's no way I would have had time to answer emails now if I didn't hire that off, even when I didn't think I needed it, because it also took a long time to like show her what to do. And so it was really nice to just like have the time to show her, okay, this is how I would answer this email and this is how I would answer that email. And so I was glad I did it when I didn't have a lot of emails. And now she like works full time and there's no way I'd be able to like train her.
I know, like number one hire, I'm always like customer service. Get customer service off your plate, because really like one negative, like your 1-star review threw you off balance. And you couldn't focus on putting your good stuff out there. Like we're human beings. Like we take it too hard sometimes. Okay. So you're on these deal sites, you're running these deals, and then you're like, okay, I got to do something else. Why? What was the thing that made you think you needed to build your own store? What was that?
Well, you told me first. I needed a website, so I got a website. I really just say I just listen to Allison. Anything she says, I just do it. So I got my website, and it really wasn't making too much every month. I was still making more on deal sites each month, and then once my husband left and went to medical school, then it was like a little bit more stressful and I wanted something more consistent. I was like, okay, instead of like making sure I make this much each month, I want to make sure there's got to be a way to like already be like, okay, I could guarantee I'll have this many sales the next month. And that's when like the subscription idea and the workbook idea came up. And
okay, wait, so your husband went to school and you stayed home with the kids?
Yes, with 5 kids between the age of 2 and 7.
And your business was taking off.
And COVID, so my kids couldn't be in school. So yes, it was really hard.
Was your husband gone now, or is he back?
No, when COVID hit, they sent him home. And so he's been home, but now he goes back December after Christmas again. Okay.
So. And which Caribbean island might it be? Is it Puerto Rico?
No, it's like Grenadine. I'm so bad. Geology. Something weird. It's not the touristy one. He like doesn't have hot water. It's third world country, like no heaters. There's nowhere to even buy a bowl and a spoon. So all his roommates shared a bowl and a spoon for cereal. It's funny.
I see why you're like, no, dude, you just go. I'll be here. I'll be here when you get back. Okay. So then, you moved over to a Shopify store and the sales aren't going quite as well as the deal sites.
Right.
And the deal sites, we all know, like you basically run on their schedule and you're like, no, I want to get this on my own schedule. So you start reaching out to influencers and start growing. Okay. Now tell me about the time where you realized you had 15,000 bajillion things going on at the same time. And you had how many products did you have? Do you think?
A lot. I realized people were liking the personalization of things. So then I was like, okay, I can make personalized busy books, personalized color books, personalize this. And so then everything became personalized, which is great. But then it's really, really hard to because you can't just make 100 of one thing, because people would order one personalized this, one personalized this, one personalized that. So you're having to switch gears a lot. And then, I just felt like I was paying my employees what I was making at that point, because it took them so long to just switch gears all the time. And then, when the workbooks came into play and I got that idea, I was about to send it to my first influencer, and you told me, I talked to you the night before and I was like, I just want all the same of one thing, and I don't want to have 100 different things. And then you're like, well, tell the influencer only to promote the workbook. And I was like, no, but the flashcards are so good, and the early literacy games are so good. And I thought I was going to lose sales if I didn't have her promote all the things I gave her. And then I almost didn't listen to it, but then I was like, nope, I got to just do it. And so I finally told her that night before, I was like, okay, let's just try just promoting the workbook. And then she did, and I got $10,000 of sales in one day from her, which was incredible. But I still had all of those like personalized options on my website. So then the more people kept sharing, there was lots of different personalized things. And so I was getting super overwhelmed because, well, yeah, my business was growing. We're selling tons and tons of stuff. And then my employees were having a hard time keeping up and anyway, so I just felt like I wasn't making money. And then one day, my son's school called and told me he had been unenrolled from his school. And I was like, what? And apparently I was supposed to send a picture of his work, and they had emailed me and told me I needed to send a picture of his schoolwork. Like, we'd done all the work, but like the teacher needed an email daily, I guess, of all the work. And so, and I felt extra awful because I used to be a teacher. So it was really hard, but it was more like a wake up call for me. Like, man, my business is totally running my life to where I can't even like make sure my son turns in his homework, and I got him kicked out of his school. And like, I mean, we got it resolved, and it was totally miscommunication, but like, it still for me was like, I don't want to no matter how much, like, I don't want to keep making so much money to where I feel like I'm drowning in life. And so then I talked to you again, and then you told me, well, just cut out everything except for the one thing that's doing really good. And I was really nervous. And so I was thinking I would give my, everyone who follows me like a week or so. And then I was like, nope, I'm just going to do it today. Like, I just felt so overwhelmed, and like, I couldn't function. And then, and I wasn't getting sleep, hardly any sleep. And then, so then I just decided to end it right then. And then, we only offer the workbooks now, except for then, and I was sad too, because I didn't want to like discontinue the busy books, because that's basically what got me going. But then the more I thought about it, I was thinking, okay, I can bring back the busy books, but just like in a 24-hour period. So then I could just get a bunch of orders for those at once. And then it's not like every day, a bunch of different things. And so anyways, once I cut everything out and I just had the workbooks, then it was like, we just exploded even more. I was like shocked. I thought I thought I was going to make less money, and I was okay with making less money, because I was like, well, if I just have the life I want, it's better that I make less money and still like be able to function and have a family and stuff. And then it just like, we sold 10 times more than we did before of that one specific product, which is what I wanted to sell because it's the easiest for us to make. And if you're making all the same thing, it's way easier. And so, that's really what took us off.
I love this story so much, because it's what happens with every entrepreneur. They get started, and then they're like, "Oh, and let's do this, and let's do this, and let's do this, and let's do this," and they're just like, it's making money, so why not? And then they come to a point where they're doing 10,000 things, and they just want to quit. It's not worth it. And that's the part where you realize, okay, I need to stop and focus on the one thing you've tested. Like, you've been testing, this works, this doesn't. What if we just focus in on that one thing? What if everything we talk about, what if every influencer talks about the one thing? Can we scale that one thing? So how many subscribers do you have right now?
With the one thing too, I also, this was my mindset when I bought my new printer that you told me to buy. It was like, it could do, like, the printer guys told me all the things that it could do. And so I feel like that was like my mindset was like, oh, I need to make this, and I need to make this, and I need to make this, because that's what my printer could do. And then, so it took me a while to just say, like, even though it can do all this, I don't have to do it all. And that's like, kind of like Chick-fil-A, like, you can work on Sunday, but they chose not to. But are they still succeeding? Yeah. And like, so that's what helped me with that too. And I wrote down a quote that went really good with that. It said, instead of asking, what do I give up? Ask, what do I go big on? And so it's not that you're giving up on a lot. You're going big on something to do better at it. And we're not looking for a lot to do. We're just looking for the best thing to do. And those were some things that helped me.
Have you read Essentialism? Did you read that book?
Yes, I did. Thank you so much. Because
everybody listening, Essentialism by Greg McKeown. There's nothing there. It literally changed my life. It literally helped me to say, why am I doing everything? Why am I not just focusing on the one thing that makes the thing? Yeah.
Yeah, totally changed my life. Like one of the quotes from him was eliminate the clutter to make room or to make space for something better. And I'm like, totally. Like I just felt like my life was filled up with clutter. And when I just focused, like cut out all the clutter, then it's better. Like I went to bed at 10 o'clock last night, which is like never happens. And then he talks about too how you are your business's biggest asset. So don't you want to take care of the biggest asset your business has? And you know you need sleep and you need breaks off of your business so that way you can function at your best. And oh, it's such a good book. But
I think I've read it 4 or 5 times now, and I think I will continue to read it for the rest of my life. Because our entrepreneur brains are like, we need to do this, this, and this. No, we don't. Just bring it back. Just bring it back. Such a good.
Oh, and he also, this was like at the very beginning of his book that really helped me too. It said, ask 3 questions. What am I deeply inspired by? What am I particularly talented at? And what meets a specific need in the world? And for me, it was just like, I got chills in my whole body because it was like, I am talented. I didn't think so until like this all happened, but I'm talented at making workbooks and like designing curriculum for kids that kids like and that moms like, and it makes it easy and fun for them. And I didn't think that was like a talent. I thought everybody could do it until I tried to hire it out. And then I realized not everyone can do that. And then, and so if I just focus on the things that I'm good at, then it's going to propel my business. Like I was thinking about like Megan Pirate, like, she is awesome at selling clothes and jewelry because she likes that. She likes design. And if I try to mimic her success and say, oh, I'm going to sell clothes because that's working really well. Like I would totally fail because I have like clothes from junior high still. Like I am not good at fashion or jewelry. I don't even have my ears pierced. So like I would fail at that. But I use my talents to do something that works for me, and she's using hers. So that's why her business is good, is because she's using her talents for her business. So you just got to find your own talent and go big on it.
Great. I was listening to a gal, Jamie Lynn, who created skincare, the makeup line, Do you know what I'm talking about? Have you ever heard of that line?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
She sold her business for $1 billion.
Oh.
Yeah. And she said, I never thought of other people as competition. All I thought about was I just needed to step into who God needed me to be. Mm-hmm. And so she was able to block out the competition and say, no, you're not competition. Like, I'm just learning who you need me to be. And I thought that was so powerful. So powerful.
Oh, yes.
You discovered the same thing.
Well, and you get chill. Like I got chills everywhere I also, you would always talk about like serving others and how you serve others. And I don't know, it just didn't really click for me until like one day I heard like, okay, I'm using my talents to serve these people. And it's okay that I'm getting paid. Cause I think in my head, I always had service as something like you donate your time or you donate a meal. But like, I didn't realize I could serve somebody and bless their life and bless my life at the same time. And then like, once that like aha moment happened, I was like, okay, this is what I'm doing. And I don't feel bad doing it because I'm blessing my life and their life and everybody's life. So
yeah. And it's an equal thing. Because if you gave everything away for free, you'd be so depleted and you couldn't, eat healthy. You couldn't rest. You couldn't do the things that you needed to because it takes money to live. Like we have to have money to do the things, to be human. We got to pay rent and lights and electricity, all the stuff. We have to have money. So absolutely. Or you'll be living in some random island with your husband sharing a bowl.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so keep going. Everybody wants to know, and we'll get to it at the end. What is the name of your store?
Munchkin Lane. Well, the website is munchkinlanellc.com because there was no Munchkin Lane at the time.
And when you go to the site, what is the main thing that you're selling?
Our personalized monthly workbooks. So normally you would subscribe so you could get it every month, but that is one of the things that just overwhelmed the heck out of me. Like once I started the subscription, we had like 100 billion glitches and a lot of problems with it. And then people kept signing up every day. And it was so, I would cry a lot and I would say, I'm just going to give up. I'm not going to do this anymore. And then I would get an email of somebody saying how awesome it is. So I'm like, okay, I need to figure out a way I can keep doing this, but to where I'm not drowning. And so then I just decided to close it because it was also along the lines of like eliminating other products and clutter. And so now, and I was worried, like, I didn't want to close it forever, but now I I've gotten in a good routine to where we just open it up for 48 hours and then we close it. And then a month later, we can open it up for 48 hours again and then close it. And then that way, all the new subscribers, it takes a lot of the back end work when you have like something personalized in different levels for the subscription. That way, all the people who subscribe in those 48 hours, we can make sure that they got the right level they wanted, they have the right name and everything, and then going forward. So instead of just like having it open all the time and like just getting lost in the orders, we now can like concentrate on one batch at a time and make sure we get them going with the workbooks they want. And then next month we do the same thing and the same thing. And so it's worked out well, but you can buy a one-time purchase workbook when the subscription is closed.
So you just open it once a month for your subscription. And do you have other things on the site too? Or is it strictly now on the subscription?
So you can order the workbook that you would get in the subscription, but you would just have to remember to order it. So a lot of moms like the subscription because you get a slight discount and then you get it every month and you don't have to remember it. But the whole process of signing up was what was overwhelming. And so if you buy a one-time purchase, you just get it right like 2 days after you order it. And so because one of the hard things for us was having if somebody were to subscribe now but wanted December, we would just have that order sitting in, and I don't even have the December workbook designed yet. So it was like creating all this pressure and anxiety for me. And so now it's like, okay, you can buy the same workbook you would get in the subscription, but you have to just buy it just this month. And then if you want to get in on the subscription, you can wait to when it opens up again. But so yeah, we have our workbooks and we have the famous flashcards that they're way better now. Like I can't even believe I used to sound the way I did before, but they're so much better now, way better lamination, everything. And we have more options. And I just made a sign language option too, and people are loving that. And then you can workbooks. Oh, and then anything not personalized. So we have like alphabet games and early literacy games and stuff, because those we can just make ahead of time and you can just throw them in with your order. And that was another thing. Like people wanted me to make big posters and I did it for like a week. And then I was like, nope, we can't do this because even though I have the educational background to make them and we have the machine to print them, it doesn't like go with the workbooks. So you'd have to ship it separately because it was so big. And then it just creates like a lot more work. And if that's not what we were focusing on, it just was easy to be like, nope, sorry, we can't do that anymore. Whereas before I would just try to please people all the time before I knew what my main focus was. But now that I know, okay, we're focusing on the workbooks and like we can offer stickers for the workbooks because those go right with the stickers. So we just have products that go really well with the workbooks. But if it doesn't, we don't offer it anymore.
This makes me so happy because you're like, no, this is creating too much anxiety. This is creating too much stress. I can't sleep. I'm going to cut that off. And yes, I may potentially lose sales, but you just kept going forward. And to find out that urgency and scarcity is one of the biggest blessings in e-commerce is shutting it down and taking it on again.
Well, and then that's where I was worried too. I'm like, oh, I don't know. But the very first time after we shut it down and when we opened it back up again for that month, I myself made $10,000 in one day without any influencers or anything. I just sent out an email saying our subscription's open for 48 hours. And then just huge $10,000 worth of sales in one. Well, it was like 24 hours. And then like the last couple trickled in the second day because everyone wanted to make sure they got in before it closed. But yeah, it was crazy.
Heck yeah. When did you open up Shopify?
A year ago, was September 2019 is when I did. And so basically from September last year to, I think it was, I told you like July this year, I made it was like $19,000 total in Shopify, just Shopify, not like Jane or anything. And then when I opened the workbooks, it was like $30,000 so in August, I made $30,000. And do you want me to tell you how much I made? Are you wanting me to share?
No.
Okay.
No, you can share whatever you want to. But I love the fact that like you just didn't turn it on. Like if you turned it on, had $30,000 in 1 month with one workbook, you would have like, how would you fulfill that? And so just by building slowly and then just getting stuff out and saying, this is our focus, it led you to bigger numbers, which is so fun. So fun.
And I just this morning signed off. We're buying a second printer. Isn't that insane? like I've only had this first one for 4 months and we're already like exceeding the limit we can make with it in just 4 months. And so now we're buying another one and we're buying a like coil thing. So now we don't manually have to coil all of our workbooks. So it's insane.
So good. So good. Yeah. How many employees do you have right now?
Technically, I know that's really hard because we got a lot coming and going, but 3 full-time and then like a lot of part-time ones during the week we have the subscription go. Cause then we'll have like, I never told how many, but I have 1,759 subscribers. So
oh my gosh, almost 2,000 subscribers.
Yeah, it's insane.
And the subscription model wasn't opened until
middle of July. Yeah. So in the first 23 hours, I had 23 subscribers. I'm like, oh, okay, that's okay. But it just like kept going and going.
And it's going to keep going because you're focused on it.
Yes.
Oh, this is so fun. This is so fun. All right. So I want you to think about, right now we've got a whole bunch of people that are just starting. They've been selling on marketplaces. Give me 3 pieces of advice that you would give them to be able to start their own online store. And then 3 pieces of, okay, we're going to go 6 here. 3 on starting their own online store, like moving off of deal sites to start their own online store so they can go big. And then 3 on how to really focus on the thing to be able to grow that.
Okay.
But I know you
yes,
can do
you did. Okay. I would first say like whatever is doing good on your deal site, then go with that. And like, if you like it, if you don't like it, definitely don't do that. Cause, I had a few things that did really well on deal sites, but I hated doing them. So I just was like, I'm not going to keep doing, and they didn't even bring me as much money as they do. Like for example, my alphabet matching games, I didn't have those on the deal site because we hardly make any money on there. And then I wasn't even going to sell them again, but then you suggested raise the price. So I raised the price on my own website and now they're really great to sell and really easy to sell. But like, I didn't want to sell them on a deal site because you don't make too much money. So find something you love, I would say, and test it. Like it's good to test on a deal site because then that's a good product to do. And then just find, if you want more than one product on a website, just do other products that go really well with your top seller. So like for my workbooks, they're a number one thing, but really goes well with them are stickers because people like to put stickers on the pages and then like flashcards or things like that. So, and then
teeth whitening, you wouldn't add teeth whitening kits or.
Right. Yeah. Or like, I think one time I was like, those Katie used to sell slingshots. I was like, oh, well, it's kid related. And so I tried selling them and nobody bought them. But Katie could sell like thousands of them, but it's because all my audience is like geared towards one thing. And so if I, even if it was slightly related, but not related enough, it just doesn't sell very well. So.
Yeah. And Katie, she was selling a whole bunch of kids creation kits, like kids busy kits. So that fit right perfectly into hers. And so that's why it took off. Yeah. When I pull up sites and I'm like, dog clothes and teeth whitening and bath bombs, I'm like, what is going on here? My brain is just scattered. Like, I don't know what they're doing. I don't know their mission. Versus your site, you get on and it's so clear and you're like, okay, this is what we're doing. And I think consumers need to be told, this is why you're here. This is what you need to do. Just make it so clear for them. Okay. I love those things. Any others one you want to add before we go to the clarity?
I kind of forget. So why they want to go to a website? Is that what we're?
Yeah, that's what we're focusing on.
I feel like also it makes you look like slightly more professional if you have a website and then like you know what you're doing, even though you don't. And to this day, I even was questioning why you wanted to interview me because I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. And I picked a day, like I told Julie first, I'm like, she can interview me in January. And she's like, no, it needs to be 3 weeks. And then, so I thought 3 weeks from now was like November 1st. And so I was like, okay, first week in November. She's like, no, it needs to still be in October. And I'm like, but I don't know what I'm doing. No one knows what they're doing. You just keep doing one step at a time and it just comes.
And that makes me laugh because you have just under 2,000 people who pay you every single month for your product. You totally know what you're doing.
Well, and that's what like surprises me all the time. Like I get like shocked when I think about it. It's like there's almost 2,000 people who are willing to buy something that doesn't even exist yet, that they don't even know what it's going to look like, but they just have seen the past. And so like, to me, that's just mind blowing that many people trust me to like make something good for them. And so that's pretty cool.
2,000 people. That's like a small town right there. Of people. I'll say, and keep going, Rebecca, keep going. We need your product. So fun. Okay. Now let's dive into how did you get so clear on your product?
I guess two ways. When I realized it literally was an aha moment when I realized I have a talent for this and not everyone does. So, once I was like, oh, this is what you're really good at. Not everyone's really good at this. Then it was way easier to scale that because I was just telling myself I was good at it. And so I feel like people should find like, not always is there a product, but like we said with Megan, she really likes fashion. So she should do something with fashion. And Debbie really is like calm and peaceful. So all her pieces are like, bring calm and peace into people's lives. And so that's just how I feel. It's like you should do something that you really are passionate about. And then you do a product towards that, and then it will work out a little bit better. And then also when you're going that way to make it more specific and you start making the products, if it doesn't fit with your lifestyle, then you just like kind of tweak it. Because like, for example, like when I had like the busy books and the color books that are also personalized, and they're great sellers. Everyone loves them. And so I had a hard time like taking them off, but it wasn't fitting with my lifestyle. It was making me like never sleep, never have time for anything. And I wasn't making very much money because I just had to pay somebody to do it all because I couldn't keep up. But so you can tweak how like what's going to work better for you. And so you need 3. I need to come up with another one.
You got one more.
And it's how to make it better for you. I'd say the question one more time. So
how do you simplify and not feel like you have to
simplify.
And get focused on being that your talent and being able to produce a product around your talent.
Definitely read Essentialism because it is like the best book ever. It really it just helped me realize okay, if it doesn't, the one thing it was, what is the one thing I can do to make the highest contribution? So for me, if I spent 8 hours of my day cutting and binding the workbooks, we wouldn't grow because I can hire somebody to do that. And then nobody would be designing the workbook and it would come December and we wouldn't have a workbook ready. So that's where I had to tell myself and I kind of actually like making the workbooks and packaging. And I think that's fun to ship things out. But I had to really tell myself to stop doing that because that's not my highest contribution. My highest contribution is this one thing, which is designing that nobody else can do. So try and think of just the one thing that you do best that no one else can do, and just do that part of your business and hire everything else out.
Amen to that. Amen to that. Okay, so you're on Shopify, and you found that deal sites are good, right? But you can explode over on your Shopify. There's so much growth over on Shopify. What is the app that you use to be able to do with your monthly subscriptions? And when we talk about monthly subscription, it's not just emails, it's true customers giving her money month after month after month through a subscription model. The order comes in automatically. Rebecca gets the order form and she ships them out. What is the app that you decided to use?
The one we use is Recharge. Okay. It's tricky, but once you and I was going to switch and I really was, but then I have a friend who does another business. She does Play-Doh and she sells monthly subscriptions for Play-Doh, and she's having a problem.
Okay, wait. Is that Play-Doh?
Oh yeah. She sells millions of dollars in Play-Dohs. Yeah. She's incredible. But she has a talent for piecing things together. So she'll make kits. So she sends different kits every month. And she's just really good at coming up with that idea. Yeah. Anyone can make the Play-Doh, but she's really good at putting the kits together. And so anyways, she does the Bold Recharge app. And she was telling me that one sometimes will limit how many people can subscribe at one time. So she was kind of having a hard time with that one. So then I was like, oh, maybe I shouldn't change. And we just, with the recharge, you have to email. That's their customer service. But we just were like, oh, fine, if that's the way they're choosing to run their business, like I can't be mad that they don't have phone support, which I was really mad at first. But we just worked with them and emailed a lot back and forth to get a lot of the glitches fixed. And then also we worked with what we wanted, and we didn't want people signing up all the time. And so I don't think the app is that bad anymore once we we made it work for ourselves and learned more about it. So it's a good
I love
app.
it. I love it. So good. Such an inspirational story of starting with handmade products and then working up to just under 2,000, which it's going to keep growing. It's going to keep growing, growing and growing and growing. And then we can all celebrate you. We're celebrating you right now. We're celebrating you right now. Okay. So how do people find you? Give us where, social media, your website again. Tell us all those things again.
Okay, it's munchkinlanellc.com. And then on Instagram, I'm also on Facebook at the same name, but it's Munchkin Lane LLC. But I am really bad at checking Facebook. So if you want me to reply, connect with me on Instagram. That's where I'm better at.
Perfect. Okay, one last question coming in. How are you doing this? You said you had 5 kids at home. Your husband is leaving. You're running a business, a very successful business. How are you balancing all this now?
Hiring everything out. Basically. And I did have to put my kids in daycare, and it's not forever. But it's like one thing that has really helped me. Like it was a mental thing at first. And I didn't think I was a good mom if I had to put my kids in daycare and whatnot, but they have way more fun at daycare and do way more fun things than I would do. Just saying like, oh, go do a puzzle while I hurry and finish this, or go do that, or go do that. And then when they come home, it's just like, okay, I turn off work and they're home and we just have family time. And so our family time is shorter, but it's more like dedicated to just the family. Whereas like all day when they were home all day, it was just chaos all day, every day. And now it's just like, we enjoy each other when we're home together because we're just having meaningful family time together. And then I'm actually going to start taking now that I'm realizing I'm doing better than I thought I was. I just am going to start taking 1 day a week off and having my kids home even 1 day a week. And we're just going to go do something fun one day because my kids still aren't in school. They're on online school. So
I love how you're like, okay, now we're reversing back and I'm going to buy back my time by hiring more out because you've got your system set up. And you can go out and hire more people. Do you have someone cleaning your house? Do you have a house cleaner?
Oh, no, but my mom did look that up the last time she was here. She's like, you need to do that now. And I was like,
that was one of my best hires. And yes, I had to work it out. So I'm like, I can clean the toilet until I figured out how much money I made selling products online. And it was way more than I could pay someone to come clean my toilets for me. And I'm like, oh, if I pay someone to clean my toilets, that just freed up however long it took me to clean all my toilets so that I can play with my family now. And I learned buying back time and not feeling guilty for it. And so now that we've had a house cleaner, I'm like, I will donate plasma. If anything were to go wrong, I'll donate plasma to keep the house cleaner. I
do Walmart delivery, so I never go shopping. And I'm like, I can never go shopping again because it just gets right to my door. And my mom even wanted me to move where she lives. And I'm like, do you have Walmart delivery? Because if you don't, I'm not moving there because I can't live without that like service now because I've learned how beneficial it is. So.
I was listening to some lady talk today too about what VAs can do, virtual assistants. You can say, hey, plan Christmas holiday for me, and I need these presents and I need them sent here. I need you to find me an Airbnb, and I need you to have groceries delivered, and I need you to find 10 recipes that don't have gluten in them, or I want a service to deliver food, and then I'll just go do everything for you. And
I have one of those. Anything I need, I'm just like, it happens to be my mom who's like amazing at stuff. And so I'm like, yes, she wanted to be like involved physically, but she lives far away. So this was a way that I could involve her. And she still flies in 1 week out of every month to like help do things physically because she really likes that part of the business. But she is so good if I'm like, okay, I need a new crimper for my thing. Go find the best one. And she'll go find the best one. Or I'm like, okay, I need new coils at a better price or this price. And she can go find it. And I do things like that too. Like, I'm like, okay, I need a new washer and dryer. Go find the best one for me and buy me. So she does that for me. And it's totally awesome because I don't have time. Oh, and she fixed my garage door for me. Well, she didn't actually, but she like called somebody to fix it because it was broken and it had been broken for a few months. I'm like, I just don't have time to like call somebody. So she's like, oh, I'll call somebody. And then they showed up at my house and fixed my garage door. So yes, she needed a virtual assistant.
She may be booked fast. And yeah, like, I don't know if you pay your mom or if you do pay your mom or the house cleaner or whatever, like we're able to create income to give other people the blessing of having a paycheck. And so, we are buying back our time and then blessing another person by being able to afford or to be able to pay them. So yeah, that's super fun to be able to write checks out to people that you're like, thank you for finding my washer and dryer. Thank you for cleaning my toilets or whatever it is.
For fixing my garage.
Yeah, your mom's a rock star. All right, Rebecca, you are wonderful. Thank you so, so much. I appreciate you. Again, Rebecca, thank you so much. Love. Is your brain on fire with all of the inspiration that Rebecca just downloaded to our brains? Going from feeling so scattered to narrowing it down to doing less and exploding her business. Just under 2,000 subscribers, people paying her every single month by doing less. I love that. And she was so open and gave us so much good information. So what I want to do now is give you my top 10 takeaways. And let me know if you have the same ones or if you had different ones. I'd love to hear them. All right. Number one, I think we both agreed that we are major fangirls of Greg McKeown. Essentialism, the book, the disciplined pursuit of less has absolutely changed both of our lives for the better. I know I've read it 4 or 5 times, and it sounds like Rebecca has read it a few times as well. So you've got to read that book. It is a serious game changer, not only in business, but in life as well. The second one, listen to what your customers want. How many times have you gone out and were like, oh, this product's going to be great. I did it. I'm so excited about it, but it wasn't even anything that your customers wanted. Listen to them. What do they need? She leaned into her customers needing homeschool products. So she jumped in there. Number 3, that so-called dumb thing in your head just may be the thing that takes off. Satan is doing everything he possibly can do to throw you off so that you don't hit your goals, so that you don't get to your success. He's going to be pulling out all sorts of tools. And one of his greatest tools is helping you to think your product's dumb. Get out there, test it. Let your customers tell you if they like it or not. Don't let Satan. You don't have room for him. Number 4, congratulate yourself when you get your first 1-star review and celebrate the heck out of it because you've made it. All people of anybody that's online that has any sort of following all have at least a 1-star review. Even Mr. Rogers did. I don't know how that's possible, but celebrate that you have made it when you get your first 1-star review. Number 5, she kept thinking of all the things that she could create, and that's when she felt super spread thin. So she decided to do the opposite and narrow it down to the one thing. Number 6, when she was talking about her printer and thinking of all the things that she could do with it, she decided, yeah, I can do it all, but I don't need to do it all. Number 7, changing the thought from what do I need to give up to what's the one thing I can really go big on. Number 8, I loved number 8. She decided to shorten her sales period. So instead of being open for 24 hours, 7 days a week, she decided to just open her cart for 48 hours so she could lower the stress in her family and her business and everything. She was nervous she wasn't going to make as many sales, but that was the thing that helped explode her growth. Number 9, discover your talent. Sometimes we get going and we're like, well, everybody can just do this. No, not everybody can do what you specifically were designed to do. What is that thing? And how can you get out there, create a product around it, and start creating an income from it? And then number 10, focus on the one thing. Yes, the one thing that leads to your highest contribution. What is the one thing that you're doing in your business that can get you the furthest? Is packing and shipping going to be it? Probably not. You are the CEO. You are the boss. You are the one in charge that gets to make the most beautiful decisions to help you to keep growing your business, getting your product out there and serving the world. Like I've said before, your world needs you and your products more now than ever. Get out there, make that money, put it in your pocket where it belongs. And I hope Rebecca was an inspiration. She's always inspiring me. Managing her 5 kids with her husband going to school completely in a different place. And she is scaling her business. And we'll see. We see her on the cover of a magazine shortly. I'm placing my bets on her. Have a beautiful, beautiful day. And I'll talk to you next week. Bye.